screen share and see how it is this time.
It seems fine. For
Yeah.
me.
For now. Please.
Oh, I remember fucking up a lot of jumps this game. I played like shit, I think.
Okay. That's fine. That gives us a lot to work with. Is it still with the same hero bands as the last time we did a review, or have they changed? I don't know
They've
how it works.
changed. They've changed. The hero bands are the old comp ones now, so it's Doomfist, Sigma Hog, and whatever the fuck support was banned.
I think Brig was it?
It was Moira, I think.
Moira.
It
Okay.
was Brig. Oh, Moira.
One of them.
Oh, maybe it was Brig actually. Yeah, maybe
It was Brig. It was Brig. It was Brig.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay.
But we get the same bands as L normally.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah, because I remember when it was first announced, the bands were different for each tier when it was first released, and
Yeah.
everyone was livid about that because it just completely fucked the entire just the scrimming system. Okay. Excuse me. So this is fine. They fuck up here, and like it's okay for you to commit to this fight up here if they do that. But a good team won't do that. Like they won't commit so long up here that they die. Um, they'll soft dive you. And in that situation, you want to make sure that you're not committing cooldowns and stuff. That you're not holding. You don't want to make the fight happen up here generally. You want to be forcing this point. But like I said, what happened here is fine. They committed hard. You used resources as well because they committed so hard, and that's fine. But I'm not talking specifically about this situation. I'm just talking about in general. It's really important to be juggling on the point. So like the way you would do it. Let me see how if your diva doesn't know actually. It is with you. Okay, so like you wanna make sure you and the diva juggle the point because like you generally you don't really commit to a fight in this area. Your internet died. That's fucking unfortunate.
Hmm. So I'm guessing is the idea is just to rotate your tanks on and off point and just take time for them and slow them down, is it? And
Yeah,
to
exactly. So I'll carry on even though he's not here. Like basically, like your the monkey. Drop it. I've got a fucking awful cough. It's such an awkward time to have one. Everyone thinks I've got a fucking disease. So like he would drop like monkey would drop first, for example, not use bubble. He'd jump back up, and then Diva could drop. And then when Diva has to fly out, monkey could drop again, even if he doesn't have his jump ready yet, because he's still got his bubble.
that makes sense.
But so they welcome back. They want to like rotate efficiently without overcommitting resources, so they buy as much time as possible. Because like I said, most fights aren't gonna like happen out in this area.
Okay.
Are you back? Do you see the game?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you cut out? Do you remember what I was saying?
No, literally, as their monkey jumped up, that's when it cut
Okay.
out.
So basically, I was saying that like what happened here like isn't normal. So like what you did in reaction to them doing this was good. Like you waited really long for their bubble until they committed theirs. You waited till like the fight was 100% happening up there, and like you were gonna get killed, so you commit your bubble. And that's fine. But like obviously, this is a good team wouldn't do this. A good team would like be soft diving you, pushing point, soft diving your backline, pushing point. Um, so like ideally, what you want to do is efficiently juggle the payload with your off tank, so that they get minimum progress or buying time for your team. Like you would drop on this, not use cooldowns, jump out. D would drop, then D would get out, and then even if you don't have your jump again, you can drop down and then bubble, and then hold it for a bit, and then jump out.
Okay.
So you want to try and stall this as long as possible. Because basically, this area is never ready for hard committing unless the enemy can fuck up. Obviously, in this situation, they did fuck up. That's fine. What happened here is fine, but more often than not, they're gonna be like, they're just looking to push you out and then push point, not like hard commit up there, or like they're gonna hard commit on your backline instead. So you can't really like commit around here. You're gonna have to help. You have to peel. But yeah, if you see mistakes like this, it's good to punish it. Because like I said, this is just about stalling the point, buying time your backline like your widow to get picks.
Okay. I think I was looking for Ariana here because I thought that she was on that high ground, but she'd moved.
So like, it's important Ariana tells you if he's repositioning stuff. Like, you need to know that. That's not so much on you. But what is on you is making sure you don't like jump too far away from the area you're fighting in when you want to jump away. Because like you're kind of just surrendering it to the enemy and giving them space that it's still yours. Obviously, this doesn't necessarily apply to this situation in particular, but just in general, like doing those sort of jumps where you jump really far away from the fight instead of just like line of sighting it. Because like the first jump you did to line of sight here, where only the monkey was on you, was great. That was good. You need to go further than that.
Yeah, I jumped to there thinking that the Anna was on high ground and could see me, but then I couldn't see her, so I was like, wait, where is she? So I jumped back to see if I could get to her.
Yeah.
Right, I've just got to Okay, I think that's gonna fix my issue, hopefully.
Okay. This jump, that is scary. Doing that, like you committed the bubble up here, then you're dropping down. You don't have armor. D was right in front of you. You don't know if she has missiles. If he didn't fly away, or if he used missiles on you and flew into you there, while Maker saying got that nade, like you'll fuck, you instantly die.
Yeah.
Like now, it's a bit more difficult to commit to holding this point because you've already surrendered most of the space that you had originally. Like you don't have your Fire and Mercy flying above hard timing. You don't have your Widow holding like a good silent anymore because the payload's so close that he doesn't have it anymore. Your Anna's not holding the silent anymore. He's being pressured back by their Widow, who's up there for some reason. And a lot of the time in this sort of comp, your job is going to be mostly marking the Widow because you have a Fire. Like it's really important that you give space to your Widow and your Fire. If you sit on your Widow, your DPS don't really have any pressure.
Okay.
That's not to say that you need to constantly be hard diving the Widow. Like you don't need to be like a bull that sees red. You know, you don't need to be going too hard. So this is what I mean about going too hard. Like you're committing to a fight. Like basically, you jump to where the Lucio was, and like you need to remember you're playing with a Widow, and you want the fight to happen in the Widow's sightlines. Like if I try and find your Widow now. Like he's just used his grapple here, so like he's not going to be committing to this fight at any second, you know. Like he's so far away, so like this is just like a real like ranked play, like a solo play.
Yeah.
Because you're just like I'm gonna kill fucking everybody, and the Mercy Valks, then that's it. That's the play gone. You can't kill anyone now. So always think about like the position you're taking the fight in. Same as I talked about with the risk that applies to just tanks in general. Like the space you're holding, the space you're forcing the fight to happen in, like that's like across the board, and specifically so with Winston. Because now you're not going to really be able to do anything with this, and if you commit in like this, you're going to be feeding a lot of ult but for some reason they're just going back into spawn. They could have fought you. Yeah, you guys committed 2 ults now, and you've just jumped there. Like that's mental. Because again, it's out of your Widow's line of sight. He's only uses grapple. You saw he uses grapple here. So like he has to run up here now, and like even if he gets here, it's out of his line of sight still. Like look where everyone is. So like if their Widow's there, if their Widow is hold like he peeks up here, it's like that's okay because he doesn't really have a sight on anybody. If your Fire and Mercy get picked here by Widow, it's on them, not on you. Like they need to be like ideally they would be playing in this sort of position. And using the clock tower, the bell tower rather, sorry, as a line of sight for the Widow. Like the Widow goes top left, they play around here. The Widow tries to go top right, they play around here. The Widow plays main, they play around here. Widow doesn't have good sightlines on them, and then you can force picks more aggressive. Like Widow peeks to P, you can jump in. Then your Fire Mercy can play more aggressive over the roof because their Widow's being pressured. And like when you're jumping the Widow, it's really important that you say like when you're on him and when you're not. Because when you're on him, that's when your Fire and Widow know they can be as aggressive as they want with their positioning.
Yeah.
Most of your Fire, your Widow still has to be a little bit careful because their monkey can do the same to her, and will be looking to do the same. But your Fire, in particular, like can be more aggressive with the silence she takes. Because Widow's her only threat. Yeah, that's crazy that you still have that. Yeah, there's no point dropping down here as well. You're fine holding that position, so. These jumps are really crazy. Like a lot of the time, you don't want to be hard diving on Widow in this sort of position unless you can, you have either sightlines or the resources to follow up. And on this sort of commit, you don't have either of them because of where they're holding. So like if you stayed up here instead of dropping down to here for heals, you stay up here, and then as their Widow peeks around, you can drop down. You can soft dive him. You drop down on him, zap him a little bit, maybe bubble, maybe just jump back out. And again, if you just jump back out without using a bubble, you don't stay very long. You don't commit anything other than your jump. You get back up here. If he peeks again, you can just drop down, bubble, jump out, and then like zap a bit for your bubble. Or if you jump back out, and then you have the option again to go back now, launch a jump cooldown off even without bubble, and that's already 3 rotations of pressuring their Widow and giving time and space to your team. But by doing this, you commit. So instead of it being 1 rotation, you then have instead of it being 3 rotations, you then only have 1 rotation because you've jumped in and committed resources like this instead of soft diving. Like whenever possible, especially on defense, because you always have the advantage of being able to soft dive. You want to be looking for that. Obviously, that was just overstaying. Like, this might look like it's going really well for you guys, because you've held it for 2 minutes. But it's more that the enemy team just aren't good than it is you guys have done. Like than it is you guys have had a good hold here. Because like you're holding so like your Widow has like really bad sightlines, so like forcing the fight constantly in this area is just not really like benefiting you. What is that?
I don't know what the Lucio's doing.
But while you guys are trying to hold this area, like you should always. This is like paradise to Winston. This roof here. If you're holding this area, like you basically can again because the payload's pushed all the way back. You get to soft dive wherever you want basically. It's like you need to be back up here immediately. Okay, again, this isn't your job. You don't need to be hard peeling like this. Because now you jumped away, and now he's free. Hard peeling isn't your job.
Okay.
You don't need to worry too much about this. Ideally, it should just be your Mercy goes back, your Diva goes back, and they peel each other, and then you drop on him. Because what should happen now is he should kill these. It's like your Anna didn't even actually need peeling. The positioning was really good. They got all the way out. She slept the monkey. So and they had no cooldowns left. So like their job was done. They played that really well actually. But then you wake him up, and now the dive can continue.
Yeah.
And then whilst this has happened as well, your Farah died to the widow that you should have been on, and now your Mercy's in Narnia. To see how like just that split-second decision of you going to peel instead of just doing your job still. And obviously there will be situations where you could potentially peel instead of committing on the widow. And if I see one of those come up, I'll talk about it. But more often than not, it's going to be your job to be keeping widow busy so that you're Farah Mercy, because the Farah Mercy are essentially generally in the mirror of like widow versus widow. It's still your job to sit on the widow to give your widow space. But in a comp where you have Farah especially as well, like the Farah is essentially the hard carry because he's being perma pocketed by a Mercy. So you wanna deny the widow and give him as much space as possible.
Mhm.
Like this would be a situation where you'd be like hard committing on the widow. You're so close to your primal. Like primal is like when you have primal, like yeah, quit on the widow. Even if you're not getting a kill on the widow, like, this obviously isn't the best situation just because you're down people and they're on the way back. Just in general, like even if you're not getting a kill on the widow, if you're able to keep like a healer busy, like you're able to keep knocking the widow around because and keep her out of the fight and not able to give her the opportunity to set up sidelines, whilst also having a healer pocket at 24/7. Like that's perfect.
Mhm.
And I know you being pretty greedy with your ult here, so you got a bit lucky that you didn't get slept earlier. But if you are going to be this greedy, you're like you ult now, and your bubble just came off cooldown. If you got your bubble off here, you could have like just as easily like jumped. You could have blocked the sleep and then that was the widow. If you're going to be that greedy, you might as well like commit to it, you know.
Yeah.
Nice. Again, like widow, like you need to constantly just be thinking about widow. That's literally the only thing that you need to worry about all the time. Everything else is like an afterthought compared to widow. If widow has free sightlines, which she does right now because your bubble's been used already, like you need to be jumping into this window saying hi. Even if she has beat, like they're 2 down, you're full health or close enough rather. If you just jump into this window, like you're not really gonna get pressured too much. At most, you'll have a diva fly into you. But you like everyone else on your team is still alive still, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. They should be able to help you get out of it. You're not if it'd only be widow and diva or no one else. The sidelines aren't great with widow in there. Actually, there's something else I want to. Wait, let me go to my stream quickly because there's something I used to use for primal practice that I want to send to you. That's really useful. Just like perfect juggles, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just obviously don't watch these clips now. When you get a chance, watch those 2 clips and the picture as the settings, and that's what I used to do for practicing my primals. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's basically a a Lucio that you can only kill, a Lucio bot that you can only kill if you juggle him perfectly, because he'll like you need to I think hit him like 3 times and with your landing damage kill him. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while. Yeah, it's really good. One thing I've noticed watching these games is that there's never really like any downtime between fights. Like there's always constant thinking about who you can kill next, instead of like having a mental reset and talking about like what's going on, who used stuff. what they have, what you have, how you want to take the fight, where you're going to play from. I don't know if that's like accurate in terms of comms, but that's how it feels from watching.
In comms we try to have that, but it's sometimes it can be a bit too fast to have that. It feels
Yeah.
like.
That's what I mean. Like this entire game, this 3.5 minutes so far, there's not been a reset. Like it's been 3.5 minutes of like constant fighting. But like it definitely doesn't need to be. Okay, so you've seen the widow there.
Is that caused by the way that we're playing, or just like the way that we're being forced to play by their play?
I want to say a little bit of both. Like the way that you guys were like chasing, like as 5 people just chasing up here, like after people, or just always pushing for kills and stuff. Like it's kind of like a mob mentality of always wanting to fight. It looks like. And just instead of just like taking a second, like holding a choke, having just one person scouting, thinking about what's next.
Okay.
Also, same thing again. Two things. One is obviously jumping back for the peel. Second is the bomb. I'm gonna guess you weren't calling it. You can shield it for your team because the Anna died. Like obviously
I said I can't block it fully, I think.
Okay, so there's there's 2 options to block that. Like one is obviously more difficult. The first one is jumping through it to block it with your bubble. Obviously that's a lot more difficult than just standing and blocking it, and takes practice. The second is calling that you have bubble back on me, and then your team just needs to be on top of you, and then you bubble. And that's both on them to be aware of where you are, and you to be aware of where they are, so you can be closer to them to make it less difficult for them to have to move anywhere. And also, this is going to be a hard fight because they have so many ults. But like that's the sort of thing that you guys could be talking about because you have ults. Like looking at your ults, you have ults coming up. Like you have Nano very soon. You have Blade soon. You know, you guys could have peeked to take while this is going on. You guys could have played more aggressively at chokes, knowing that you almost have Blade. So like, Nano, sorry, like you could have sat at this choke here to take damage rather than peeking up there. Made their tanks deal with you, made everyone deal with you so before they can push in. Like you could drop down here and bubble even, make your Ana like perma pocket you. Instead, you guys play kind of passive at the choke instead of hard contesting it, and then they get their nano, they jump in, and then you guys are at 90%. It doesn't even really jump anyway, yeah. So that's just something you could have done to farm these dots because you're so close that this is definitely a winnable fight, even if they had a big advantage on you in terms of economy. But you need to really be careful of how much you're following these enemy tanks. Like unless they do the craziest dive in the world, where they go like even out of line of sight of their own team, like so. That's good stuff actually. Remember the first dive you did? Not the first dive, but one of the first dives you did, where you ended up diving to here out of line of sight of your entire team. That's the sort of situation where it's okay for you to follow the monkey because that would be their monkey fucking up and not being within his team's range of helping him. He's kind of 1v6ing. If tanks end up doing that sort of play, then it's okay because you don't need to worry about anything else contributing to the fight. It's just a monkey because he's solo playing. In situations like that where he jumps from here to here and his team still contributes to the fight, you jumping back to him unless you know that he doesn't have ult, he doesn't have nano, all that sort of stuff. Unless you're fully aware of him not having resources and you want to like be able to shut him down and then retake space, it's never really okay to follow him because you need to make sure you're denying choke, or even if it's just like as much as bubbling choke and jumping backwards. As long as you keep people busy at choke for a little bit, don't give their widow space because you jump backwards. Or maybe it's the fight before actually, but again, like you don't commit, you don't deal with their widow, you don't keep their widow busy, and then their widow gets a pick. Like that's something that you should be preventing. It's not just on your widow. That isn't just on your widow to win the 50-50 fight, because that's all it is. It's a 50-50 fight. It comes down to who hits the better shot in that moment. And it's hard to be consistent with that. It's on you to contribute to turn the numbers in his favor. So how come you guys are here? You guys are just here because they're there?
I think so. I walked out into there because I knew that Agenji was above, and I was trying to figure out if he needed any help.
Yeah. Okay. So like, realistically, I don't think you guys give a fuck about this area, especially if you have walls coming up. Like if you have walls coming up, you'll see if they're trying to take a flank through church or whatever. If they're ever doing this sort of thing, but don't forget, essentially you're running dive versus dive as well. Like you now that you have a Genji, especially, like you guys can look for the hard dives more often than doing this sort of stuff. Like they just have an Ana on point alone. Like if you guys just completely ignored this left side, let me see, go back a few seconds. Okay, so their tanks are just committing to this side now. The Widow's grappled somewhere. I think up there. Like Widow's free to dive right now. Like the tanks are really committed here. If you weren't here, it feels like they would still be here for some reason. So like, you don't gain anything from being here. Like you're not stopping. Like two things you need to worry about against their comp is stopping the point and stopping their widow. And right now you're doing neither. It's not. You don't really need to worry about pushing out these tanks because they're not doing anything. Like if their tanks, for example, were holding here where their widow and Ash are, I would agree that you need to push them out because they're in a position that benefits your team. But this left side of the map doesn't really benefit your team at all. Your team literally gains nothing from playing here. At most, you would maybe have your widow would maybe want this area so that he can sit here and snipe. But it's not the end of the world if he doesn't have it, you know. Like there are plenty of other places he can go. He can go from main. He can play up here. He can peek over here. He can even, there are so many more places he can go. Losing that one space isn't the end of the world. And if your team are forcing fights up here or on the point, their tanks have to leave here. They can't stay there. So your widow would gain that space back anyway. This is space that is irrelevant to the next fight. That doesn't need to be contested. Even if their tanks are there. Like if their tanks go there, start doing that long rotation, like you can think about going straight to the point. Like you're super close to your ult as well, so you don't need to worry too much about overcommitting to a contestant things. Like if you want to jump on the widow right now or Lash, or the Ana, and like instead of soft diving, like fully commit, that'd be okay because you should theoretically be able to get your ult in time. But if shit hit the fan and you couldn't jump out again, you could ult and like turn the fight that way.
Yeah.
Like see what happened there? Like you guys both just left. Literally, like it was like there were just an irrelevant fight happening over here, and then your team were left with their own devices here. It's like walls v walls here. You're looking at the tank slot instead of the widow. Like make sure you're always looking at that widow.
Yeah.
Why do you jump there? You wasted jump here as well. Like you could have just chilled and waited for the Lucio to boop you, but you jump as he boops you instead. But I don't really understand why. I think you thought you were further away than you were. Okay, that's good. Again, like, okay, he was gone. You guys aren't going to kill her anymore. Leave the fight. Think about your next position. So this yeah, like now you need to be thinking about your next position instead of doing this. Like it looks like you're still being greedy and trying to think of ways to keep the fight going. But like you want to be setting up a next position. So what your job needs to be when you're thinking about your next position is you either want to make their tanks have to force you out to take space. Like holding this would do that. If you held here, their tanks would have to deal with you before they could go forward. So their tanks would have to commit like bubble here, for example. They have to come around this corner and bubble so that they wouldn't get killed by your widow. Because your widow's going to be holding up here. He's going to have good sight lines. He just needs to be worried about bottom right, and main. But if you're holding around main, you can easily wide peek here and bubble like you have, and that'd be okay. And obviously, you can have Diva playing here and potentially marking that, and then that's chokes dealt with. The Widow would have to grapple up here to be safest. And if he grapples up here, you're holding close, you can jump up here and contest it. And if their tanks jump on you, you just drop down. That's fine. You're out of line of sight again. You could also, because you're playing Genji, and you do have nano, even if you don't have nano blade, you have nano for you. You could look to to hard dive more. So like you can play more like a flank style where you're hiding. Like you can sit in here.
That's what I go to do.
Okay, you could sit like in the corner bottom right, and then you wait for information from like your Genji or Diva, and like they call where the Widow is, they call if resources are used, and then you would jump on either the Widow or the Ana. Either would be okay.
So my call right now is I'm gonna stand like in this corridor, and I've asked for comms on when the Widow goes on top, and then I'll dive her.
Yeah, perfect. This is good as well. Like you see as well, that tanks are really, like looking to commit forward. So, like you want to start going forward as well. Ideally, you would go before they committed, so that they would potentially turn around on you. Especially if you have primal, like it's okay if they turn around on you instead, because then if everyone's dealing with you, these guys are free. It's not the end of the world if they dive and then you end up diving their back down as well. I see the Widow. You're the Widow. It's okay to drop on him again. You have ult. So the one thing I would say is that normally you wouldn't necessarily. Well, yeah, I was going to go to that next, but like you wouldn't necessarily need to hard commit on the Widow here. Like if he drops down here, like you can even just stay up here. Like it's okay to stay up here. You don't need to hard commit and drop on him. You already forced him out. You can wait until he moves elsewhere, because like the moment he drops down here, like he's out of line of sight of the fight again. You don't need to chase him. And obviously, yeah, the bubble doesn't really do anything because he's running away from you. You don't wait until he's set up to fight it before you use the bubble, because like you're overcommitting it. And I mean it's okay because you're dealing with like 4 people, but it was a little like unnecessary, you know.
Yeah.
Then you just commit a bit much there. Okay, like even if he's winding that sharp on you, like it doesn't really matter too much, because he still hits on you as well.
If I had put my bubble a bit forward as well, I could have blocked that nade and actually.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The other thing I'll say then obviously is about this primal is that you're committing to killing them in this corner. Let me see how you use your jump actually. So, like the moment that happens, the moment they split off from here and they're able to get out. Now, like this is the moment you need to be getting out because you missed your second hit. If you missed the hit if you hit this one as you turned, I'd maybe argue you could stay here and potentially kill them both, because then you'll have like 3 hits on them total. But the moment you miss this one, you need to instantly be jumping out probably to there. That's your quickest line of sight. Or even going and get the mega. Like you've got like 2 more jumps left. You can go and get this mega, get out, and then you've got another jump to get back to your team. Just be careful, obviously, committing in this sort of area, because again, talking about the line of sight thing, like you're out of line of sight of your entire team. If your team were pocketing you and also contributing to this fight, then yeah, you could commit on that more. But your goal with primal isn't always to kill; it's to keep people busy. So even if you're just jumping around and like you're not within like melee range of them, say for example when you primal here, let me go back a second. Say when you primal here, like this is okay, this is okay, this is okay, and then the moment you get your jump card on again now, like you're instantly jumping out. Like just keeping people busy and thinking about you and looking at you would be okay, instead of hard committing on this fight, because you essentially just feed like you're an entire like 1,000% worth of ult. And then also you have your team dealing with their own thing over here, so it's not even like helping them that much, you committing to try and kill there. Because if you commit to try and kill there, obviously you're going to die faster. Rather than jumping around using the entire duration of the ult and keeping them busy for that entire duration. So one thing, you don't always want to be reconnecting from main in Widow versus Widow. Like sometimes it's okay to like flanking sometimes because it's your job to get on the Widow, right? So if you come from main, you have to make up this entire space and jump, away to avoid being shot by Widow, as opposed to maybe you go through here, come from here, because you know that the enemy team are going to be playing around bank side because that's the side where the payload is right now. They're not holding closer. And you can see that because you were holding from closer originally. Like you could just retake from bottom left and reduce sight lines and then get on the Widow.
Okay.
Like you're lucky here that the Widow wasn't looking at you the entire time. But obviously, if you go bottom left, your team needs to not peek as well. Like your team is just waiting until you can sit on the Widow and give them space, which is essentially what happens anyway. Like you go from like no one's peeking in with you. Like it's just you on the Widow, and that's okay. But obviously, from going from main, they should have seen you a lot earlier and been able to deal with you earlier. They're just really overcommitted there. Again, just bubble usage. You need to make sure he's actually coming to the fight before bubbling. Because now, like, this chase is super dangerous.
Yeah.
Also, no reason to jump away there. Like, it was like you should have been just been holding the space, asking where your Anna is, seeing if he can get to heal you. Even if he can't get to heal you, just being up there is waiting for your bubble cooldown would be okay. But jumping away, you're then putting yourself in the line of sight of the actually end the Widow again. Diva can turn on you, but you were up here, like, Monkey just use a jump, there's nothing that gets you, you literally just sit up here. Your Anna could just as easily, instead of doing whatever this is, he could come up here, throw heals on you, and then you'd be okay. Like, jumping away like that, you're just surrendering space that you don't already want, and making it, this, like, your next use of cooldowns is going to be really difficult, because you have to take space back again. They should be getting mega. Like, obviously, I know you're worried about point, but you're not going to get to it. And if you do, you're going to die. Maybe you can get nano if you. No, you don't jump that much.
No, I messed up that jump hitting the roof.
Yeah, I think there was less worried about what's happening here, and more worried about how the start of the fight ended up. Like, there's obviously a bit of lack of communication between you and Anna as well. So make sure you guys work on that. Like, you need to be asking him about his positioning. He needs to be telling you his positioning. You want to make sure that you guys are on the same page, so that when you're taking space, you can make sure it's within your Anna's line of sight, so you don't have to give up that space. Because you're able to take like this from the Widow, and that's really good. Like, the way you did it wasn't the best, but the fact that you did it was good. And then you jumped away to try and find your Anna because you didn't know where she was, which is awful. Because you can, if you keep this space, you can soft dive on the Widow whenever you want, and it makes things really difficult for the team. They have to push you out of here before they can look to dive your backline. Do you know about the punch animation cancel on Monkey? I can't remember if we talked about it last time.
Or the jump?
Yeah.
Punch animation? Yeah.
Okay. How can we stop Rein now?
I think the call was to switch to a Rein Diva comp for this point.
It wasn't you that called it, right? Or do you
No,
know what it's called?
No, not really.
Okay. I think, especially because their team was, I think it's still really important that you keep the Monkey. Like, you should, especially considering you have the line of like you still want to be shutting down, because you guys should win the good dive. And also, if you're diving with the Genji, you can bubble someone off and getting the beat. You're not really going to do much Rein versus their comp than be like a shield bot holding point, and then their tanks are still going to be free to roam around and dive and stuff.
Yeah.
So super lucky that we don't get a pick of HP and shielding that out. Could have shielded the dynamite there from the Genji. The moment he jumps, you probably, if you want to do this charge play, that'd be the time to do it. The moment he jumps behind you would be the time to do it. You're waiting too long to go for it.
Okay.
If you're gonna go for it, like you wait. Yeah, it needs to be a quick thing rather than a late thing. Because obviously he's just gonna keep holding W and chasing after these guys. What the fuck? Just be careful how much like not really doing too much shielding at the moment. Versus their comps really point to you like they're playing Ashwood, obviously we're just dead at the moment, but even earlier you weren't doing it when you were taking space. Your shoulder's been super healthy this entire time, and that's like it's like a little worrying. Because your shield, you shouldn't have that much shield up time versus their comp. Like your shield should be taking a lot of damage. Just be careful with how much you're swinging because you're turning your back on the enemy team a lot. Oh, so you're down on your Ana right now. Don't forget. He's only just gotten back. But, like you do want to be holding the chokes, like holding as close as you were, like versus their sort of comp where it's double hit scan. And they're playing dive, like you want to be you want to be holding contesting these chokes, like holding around these stairs here, and then if they push in right side, you want to come and hold here so you can block both the entrances, or if they come left, holding chokes here and denying them from coming in here. Like you want to hold chokes aggressive with your contested stairs. It's like the place you're gonna have the most impact is when you're able to sit at a choke and just swing it and deny people coming in. If their tanks take space behind you and you're able to hold the choke, you can either stand here and shield off Ana so he can't heal, or you can stand and swing on the corner as anyone trying to come through takes a shit ton of damage. You don't want to give them space. Careful. Like, obviously, I know you're going for a criminal monkey there. There's no real need to, because your high nooning's like the best thing you could have done in this situation. Okay, so you hit the high noon. He starts high noon. Where's he high noon from? Oh, he's miles away. Okay. But like obviously, ideally, like if you guys high noon a little bit closer, you could shielding him forward, going through this corner here. Or even just like even without this, like you can just hold this corner here and just be swinging on the corner because they're gonna have to keep touching to be in line of sight and touch point anyway. Yeah, he's in line of sight. It's like you don't need to commit beyond there because if you commit beyond there, these guys are all like none of these are pressured whatsoever. Like these are all completely free, and you're not super healthy as it is anyway. You're rich with draws, so you're just playing free ult basically because you're gonna get it's gonna be super free versus the team. So you go here, you're suddenly in a 1v4 or 2v4, yes, Genji's behind you to kill someone. But like you're you're really at risk when the enemy team are because of what's happened because of your high noon stuff happening right now. Like everyone's really static. Like even now, like if they're going to be forced to push into you, like you don't need to be forcing the fight to happen the way it is because you're essentially forcing two different fights. You could have been playing, back here on this corner, staying on the monkey. You have to peek to kill the monkey because he's touching point, and then you can just go wide and look for shots there.
Yeah.
It's like this is really the situation where you're shielded the most when it's been most unnecessary. Like it's just a monkey shooting you. Like it's just a monkey and a diva. Like diva gets booped away from you. He's not even on you anymore. She then bombs as well. Like you're holding your shield the entire time instead of earlier when you could have been swinging on the monkey when he's right in your face. It's like there, you activated your shield so much there and only got in one swing. You could have gone a lot more. Obviously, you want to shield Diana, and that's fine right now. But you don't need to be holding it as long as you are. Like, but just before then, when you were close to the monkey, just before the bomb went off, you only got one swing when there was not really any pressure on you. It was just the monkey, and like obviously holding shields and couldn't do nothing. Okay, your shielding habits, I guess, are a bit like back to front right now. Okay. So that's fine. It's like you know where they are now and you know what the plan is. That's crazy.
Yeah, the plan was to boot them off the high ground and then
Yeah.
knife them as they drop, but they just kind of got instantly blown up.
Yeah, I guess I think they got fire rocket at the same time. They got a good slam man roll. So like it's an instant like 150 damage. So obviously, first thing I'll say is that it looked like you were a bit slow to act upon the plan because you don't jump. Like you need to be jumping. That like now. Like, you need to be there at the moment they're landing.
He called that like as he was pile driving that he'd boot them off.
Okay.
So I was like, oh shit, that's happening, I guess, right now.
And again, just bubble usage as well. Like if you hadn't bubbled so early, you could still be committing on the fight. I mean, you'd probably still be able to anyway, just because they're down numbers. Yeah. Okay, so it's good you guys won the fight. You guys have all the space in the world now. Like you want to be contesting chokes hard, especially versus their comp. Soft diving isn't necessarily super necessary. You want to be just hard contesting chokes. Yeah, like if you hold a choke, like what I would probably do is I'd probably like sit here, or maybe even here. So the moment they come through a choke, I can soft contest them a little bit, then jump backwards to my team, like jump back to this corner, get healed up, and then they're gonna heal up, walk forward, and then I'm gonna be super close to them out. So you're already on 50%. So like you can easily get another like 20% as they come through a choke, 25%, maybe even more. And then soft dive backwards to your team, and then be ready to hard commit on your next jump because you'll easily build that as they grouped up. They're going to be pretty grouped coming through chokes just based on their comp. Okay, this is fine as well because you guys are I like this as well. Like this is also good, like just because your widows taking a lot of space, therefore they're not in a rush to get back to the point that balls booping them. It's good to take high ground as well. You got Fire Mercy supporting you as well, so you don't need to worry too much about this fight happening. You don't even necessarily need to commit your bubble to it if Mercy's going to be quick on pocketing you. You can save resources that you can soft drop on these guys. You guys theoretically should be able to keep up the pressure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should have bubbled there or not.
It's not the worst thing in the world. If you're going to bubble, you could you could stay up there even. Like ideally, you could have just had like the issue was that. The issue is that your fire isn't shooting the diva at all. Like your fire's on the wrong targets. Like your ball should slow down a little bit, and your fire should slow down a little bit. And if they push out this diva and help you, so that you're not forced all the way back here. If this diva gets forced out, you're then able to help pressure on here, and you guys can keep the pressure up. But instead, you split your focus. So I don't know who is calling what here. You need to be a bit like more vocal than others in calling this diva and make sure that the enemy team, your team, know that they need to push out this diva.
Yeah.
So the split is what fucks you guys here. I'm sure that diva ends up dying, but you can no longer. You can't like snowball this pressure as well. or as quickly because you've had to give up so much space and resources. Yeah, like you want to be walking forward here, like you want to be sitting above them instead of just sitting so far back. Like if you could sit up here, sat down on them, sit here, sat down on him. You want to be doing something to pressure instead of just holding up here.
Yeah.
Like even soft dropping. If you went to the left here and soft dropped, okay, you do it late, so you have to jump in. Because you get a pick, so it's not the worst. But you're really lucky that everyone like just instantly leaves that instead of trying to kill you because they could have just as easily killed you as well. It's a good snowball from you guys. Because again, going home chokes, nice space. You don't need to be on point. Three on cart. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like ideally, you'd have the split so that you would one of your tanks would hold top left and one of your tanks hold top right. So that you instantly deny the choke that they're coming out of, and you just double up on it when you know where they're coming from. Or again, soft dropping here. This is a huge waste just because you're committing a resource before the enemy team come out, and now McCree's peaked here. You don't have bubble, so you don't have your ult either. You've been nanoed. It's okay. You can actually commit on him now. But had you not been nanoed here, and like the nano's a bit of waste as well because it's just diva. Like you get nothing out of this. You want to wait until you know like where the people that you need to shut down on the team are, and the people that you need to shut down on the team is just McCree. If you deny McCree, their team can't really do anything to yours. Like outside of McCree, because they're running Moira, they just don't have the damage. Like you've wasted your entire nano here. Just essentially all you're doing is building your ult and building their Moira ult. And the entire time McCree's just been on this right side. He's only just getting contested now, but even still, he's like in a 1v1 because for some reason he's gone alone and none of his team have gone with him. Like as much as you're fucking up, they're also fucking up. It's just that their fuck up is a lot worse. Like this fuck up isn't like super costly. Like at least you're still getting something out of it. You're still building your ult. They're getting absolutely nothing out of this except potentially losing him. You definitely stayed there way too long. You lost Nano, you lost Bubble, and then your team are in the back dealing with a solo diving Lucio.
What?
Obviously.
Okay. I don't know why that Lucio. So.
Like I said, you guys might be fucking up, but they're fucking up a lot harder. But yeah, like hard contesting this choke, like I mentioned, just wasn't the most important thing for you to be doing. Like it's okay to soft contest it until you know where McCree is. But you commit so much into it, like the nano and the bubble, without knowing where McCree was. Like you guys aren't really scouting too much. Like you could have, sat main, checked where they're going, checked where McCree was going, hid back here, waited for McCree to peek at like top right or top left, and then jumped him. Instead of just being sat main and dealing with whoever came there. Like you don't want to worry too much about them coming out main. Like you could even literally have like you sit on point while your Ana gets set up safely because obviously they're running dive tanks as well. So their objective is going to be to sit on your Widow or sit on your Ana to give space to their McCree and Tracer. Like they're going to look for it pretty hard because of Tracer. So ideally you'd maybe set up your Ana, like have your Ana run all the way up here and sit up here. Have your Ana sit back here so he's out of like just have your Ana sat far away instead of being sat on point. Let me see actually where your team sits on this. Because you have Ana point. Your Ana's super vulnerable there. You're holding choke. It's quite unnecessary. It's like the best thing to do in this situation if I was calling for your team, I'd have you push point or your ball push point. The other tank sets up and contest the choke and scouts. Have your Fire and Mercy up high, spamming choke they come from. We're playing long sight lines, so like here is fine, Church is fine, Church is probably better. And then your Ana can sit like back here, maybe with your Widow. Probably back here is better though, because you want to have them separate so they can't both be dove. And then yeah, you then have the choice of which choke to dive from point. You don't need to worry about like C9 them by pushing point while the fight is happening, because you are in position to win the fight just because of the nature of having attacker's advantage. well, not attacker's advantage, but like defender's advantage, I guess, actually, because they're retaking into you. So it's more defenders. You're essentially defending the point of the choke, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that setup would be better instead of what happens here, where you're positioning chokes versus you're basically just versus tanks. Like there's nothing else happening. Like you're in your own little world here fighting tanks, while their DPS are doing their own thing as well. Like their DPS is there, their Tracer's solo diving on your Ana, and your Ana's trying to peel the Lucio that's diving your Widow.
Yeah.
If you guys had positioned better, like and like set this up better and talked about how you're going to take this fight, none of this would have happened. This would have been an easy. This should be an easy fight for you, just because the ults you have. Like the fact you have nano and they don't have a beat to peel, means like everything. And when you want to be hard diving, which you want to be doing with your comp, especially because you hit the nade on this Kree. Like imagine if your nano was on the Kree instead of the tank's main. They're just being pocketed by Mora, so you're not really having an impact. Like he just dies. Okay, so you got the kill on Tracer. You know they're not going to be able to immediately pressure your backline. Pushing tanks out is okay. And obviously McCree, you want to treat him like the Widow. You want to be sitting on him as much as possible.
Yeah,
Push
I
out.
don't think I do.
Yeah, you push out Monkey. You know where McCree is as well, so you go for it. Okay.
I fuck that up.
So I mean, you go for it though. You go for it, and that's fine. Like if you fuck it up, like that's gonna happen. Like it's a hard thing to pull off. So it's okay that you fucked it up, and like that sort of shit just takes practice. Like it's really hard consistently. It's also one thing that I'm not a fan of in Overwatch is that there's no way to reliably practice that. So the only time you have to practice it is situations like that. Like it's scrims, go for it, fuck it. Okay, obviously don't go for this though. You don't have your bubble available. There's 5 of them there. He has flashbang, obviously.
I'm cut off from supports as well with that bubble.
Exactly. Like had you done, if you saw all these and you wanted to pressure them, what you could have done instead is just jumped above them, and the fact that you're above them then creates pressure, because they then have to think, okay, we probably have to back up here because Monkey's going to drop on us, or we have to push into them because Monkey's above us, so we need to go forward. And if they do the latter, if they push into your team, you're above them, can zap them, you can soft drop on their backline. If they drop back, you've bought space for your team. Job done. And you can wait for cooldowns again.
Yeah.
Pressure isn't always created by hard diving. Okay. So doing this like this is kind of doing this to come in Pyron is fine because you want to check it if it's free, push it out, your Widow can maybe take it. You don't have Widow more Kree, but yeah. This like chasing inside is kind of like you don't care, especially because you're doing it alone. Like it doesn't really feel like your team has an objective together of where they want to push out to be able to take that space. You're so split like you have. Yeah, like you have your Fire Mercy super wide here, and then your ball isn't committing with your pushing any side together with you. Then you're just committing inside the church, pushing this monkey out. Like this is a really big commit. Like he uses bubble, and that's great. Like you want to be thinking about where to go aggressively next. And talking about cooldowns, like look at what's happening. Like you've just soft dove top. Your ball's hard committed in there. Your fire has dropped like deep here. Like you essentially have like 3 different fights happening. Because your ball shouldn't be hard committing that like that, knowing that you've just used your cooldowns just to take space. And again, like you're too preoccupied with this. Like your Ana and Kree, like it's just a monkey. Like it's just a monkey. Like he's so far alone that he's not like you don't need to worry about him. Like he's gonna soft dive on the back line and create some pressure that way. That's okay, but like your Kree and Ana should be able to peel for each other. if there was more than him, or like if it looked like they were trying to set up the dive, then I'd argue that okay, you can look, you need to create more pressure and forcing him out. But I don't think that's of like the utmost importance right now with what's going on back here. Like you need to be supporting this.
Mm-hmm.
Should have really bubbled him as well here with the barrage. He's really lucky that he had more people coming on him. But I guess the crew was dead and just spawning. And this, yeah, there's just who kind of leads the comms when you're running this sort of comp, like about like how the fights are happening. Who's doing that?
I think normally it's Astroy, which is the Mercy. He's normally the one that makes the plans in terms of ults and stuff going into it.
Okay.
And then just in fight, I'll
mid-fight, yeah.
when I'm diving and stuff.
Okay,
And
yeah,
where I'm
'cause
in pitch fight.
it just seems a little bit messy, like in the start of this, where like stuff was constantly happening, even when you weren't in position to be assisting that stuff happening. Like when you're jumping as well, you're not really. It doesn't feel like you're thinking about who the greatest pressure is on the enemy team and who you need to be dealing with. It feels like you just see where the biggest clump of people is or where the nearest people are to you, and you're like, okay, I'm going there, rather than like, I need to deal with this hero so that people on my team are free.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, so like it's definitely more important. Like you're really lucky that your fire is like getting this pressure on Kree because like, and their Kree's being unassisted because he's playing solo as well. Because if he wasn't playing solo and if he was being more assisted, he'd be able to deal with your fire super easily. Like right now, like if I was you after this has happened, like instantly I'm thinking, okay, I want to sit on the D.Va, the baby D.Va, or the Lucia, probably baby D.Va, and kill him.
I think I go for the baby D.Va.
Baby, okay, good. Baby D is dead. And now, like I just see Moira do shift. I want to go on Moira. Okay, you try to do that for the primal as well. That's fine. Again, their Creed's free. Like their Creed goes back into the fight, you can hear him shooting, but then you like your own tanks and stuff as well. Like obviously it's not the biggest deal right now because the fight's basically over and he doesn't want to do much, but that's like a common theme where you're not worried too much about what's happening outside of what you can see. Whenever possible as well, try and get more punches in on tracers. You'll be more effective with the burst damage rather than you'll like constant zapping on a tracer. Obviously, as well, like you're not gonna have much time to get a lot of damage on her because she's just gonna blink away from you. So any punches you get on her like have a longer lasting impact than the zaps. If she's in range, obviously don't like force it to happen. If you have to commit stuff. Okay, so again, like this is sort of situation where you want to be soft diving, like, and take a space to like. You see the D.Va and Lucio appear, like this would be okay to soft dive on and like commit stuff to push them out so that you have control of this and not the enemy team.
Yeah.
Like with the the ults and stuff that you guys have, you don't need to necessarily like be hiding and setting up the dive. Like, you can do that if you're talking about it, but it's clear that you guys aren't really talking about it. Like either would be okay, like hiding and setting up for a hard dive on Kree. Just because of your comp, like have your Kree go high ground it for a hard dive on their backline as they peek here. Yeah, like you're both in two different minds of what you want to do. Like you're hiding and then your balls rolling into them.
I think I wasted jump there, maybe.
It's not the biggest deal. Like waste or not, it's not the biggest deal. Like you're still soft contesting this corner and waiting to be able to hard dive. The fact that you just killed their Kree means that you have all the space in the world now. So your job just needs to be push, like dealing with whatever's on point. Like this bubble becomes a waste just because it's only the tracer behind you. And like, what would be more ideal in this situation was if you jumped onto a point here and bubble off them, whereas the Moira has to commit more to the fight than what she's doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this jump backwards isn't really on you to do. Like you're in this pure mindset again. Like you guys are already down Tracer. Oh, is this because you're swapping?
I think we go Rein Diva comp. And
Okay.
Kree gets left behind, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yes, this is the first reset I've seen that's good. Don't be afraid in this situation to do some scouting as well. Like you can definitely like use your shield and check out what's going on. Talk about where they're holding. That gives you an idea of what you want to do, because this doesn't need to be just wasted time. If you're just sat here doing nothing, it becomes wasted time. When it could be time to set up how you want to take this fight. Like, do you want to push top right? Do you want to go underneath and play point and force them to drop? Do you want to play wide and poke them out until they're forced to drop? You know, like there are lots of options, and you need to be discussing what you want to do.
I call for just to leave the chaser and push him.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. You've gone different sides there from your backline here. Like your job here, like you don't need to be as close to tanks as you are. Like you can go wide here, because you want their tanks to have to leave the areas you're in, and like not really gain anything from it. If you're sat in front of them holding your shield like this, they get a lot of value. But if you go wide here, the tanks are super deep. The rest of the team has to be super deep as well because they're running more instead of Anna. And then they'd have to make up a lot more space to kite back if they're going to. And also like each taking this space as well. If you're shielding your team, they have better sightlines than they do just because of your shield. This is obviously crazy. You guys just need to push the point. There's no reason to be like going as deep as you are. It's okay to be pushing up here, but like the moment you do this, it's like way overcommitted. Like you just need to be, because obviously they're going to be having people touch the point. Ideally, you're just around hit the point to be able to swing on it. Like Ryan is always like the best person to have on point in like these overtime situations or like situations where it's super close to finishing. Just because you have the easiest time hitting anyone on point. Everyone else is gonna have to like run around and jump over the payload and shit. Like you just fucking hold mouse one and swing. If you just swung there instead of fire striking, you'd have killed him.
I fuck up that charge. I probably could have killed the bull if I hadn't have like missed that.
I mean, you probably would have killed the ball as well if you were just on the point already, swinging on him instead of like being over here. Like there was no reason to be as deep as you were. Like if you were on the point already, like you could be swinging on him as he comes through here to fuck up his roll, and he might not even like get to there.
Yeah.
Or you can even look for like you'll be closer already, so you can get an easier pin instead of having to pin from all the way over here, and hoping that he doesn't like hear it or acknowledge it or whatever. Okay. So like, obviously, a couple of things I want to mention is just the two biggest things for me were like, we'll start with Reinhardt, is just the way you're using your shield. It feels like you're not sure in your head of when you should be swinging, when you should be shielding, and it's a bit back to front at the moment. So make sure you're thinking about like your pathing, what space you want to help your team get through, what threats there are to them, and like obviously in mid-fight situations, what threats there are to you, and if you actually need to be shielding or if you need to be swinging and pressuring. And then the monkey stuff is mostly just like, it feels so like overall your mechanics aren't too bad. Like your monkey juggling and stuff was decent. But the way you think about playing monkey is what the problem is. So like the way you're forcing certain fights to happen, or the way you're using your cooldowns, or the way you're setting up the fights. That's the stuff you need to put a lot of work into, because that's going to have the biggest impact on how you play monkey, and what you're able to do on monkey, because you're not able to do too much with what you're doing right now, because you're positioning inefficiently and using cooldowns inefficiently. So that makes it like twice as hard for you as it should be. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So like, you make sure you're putting a lot of thought into like the the way that you're gonna set up a fight, and how you want, like, do you want to be hard diving, do you want to be soft dropping, how can you be as greedy as possible while doing it safely with your cooldowns. I'd recommend watching as much owl povs as possible of monkeys, and seeing how they're setting up. Like, look for comps where they're playing like hard dive with like traces and shit. Look for comps where they're playing with widows. Even if you need to go a little bit further back, and study like from like last year even, and like you're able to find like YouTube or Twitch povs of old like pod streams. If you need help with finding that sort of stuff, like don't hesitate to ask. Like, I don't mind. Trying to help out that sort of those sort of VODs as well. And like, even if it's not as applicable because the meta doesn't apply. The way they play and the way they do things is still a lesson that can carry on to help you like within this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's everything I have. If you guys have any questions, I'm fine to deal with them. What we call it.
Okay. Chemist, do you have any questions?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
Most of what I had was answered.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for going over the time by quite a bit.
Sure, no worries. I'm happy to.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And
yeah, midweek I start scrim. I actually have a week off now. So I don't know if you guys want to have. We could have the next session on Friday if you wanted, and I could do that like anytime. But then on Saturday I start scrimming again, so it'll be a bit awkward.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can talk about it midweek.
I think Friday might be more useful because we'll have like OD the next day, so
Okay,
I can
yeah,
apply it like immediately.
Yeah, let's do Friday then. That sounds good.
Awesome.
We'll do the same sort of time on Friday.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, cool.
Cool.
All right, I'll catch you guys next week.
All right.
Okay,
See you
thank
soon.
All right,
See
bye.
you.